Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of the connection. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and then the energy in between it. Concept being that there are three sides to every story. So looking at your perspective, their perspective, and then this higher level unbiased perspective in the middle. I do encourage you to think outside the box with these readings. This might not just be talking about a romantic connection. This can be a friend, a family member, a coworker, anybody that you're connected to that you feel like there is a lesson that's needed to be learned at this time. As always, these energies very well could be swapped. So you could resonate more with the energy to my right than to my left, or if you're a cross watcher, then vice versa. And then any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Sagittarius. This is interesting. We're going to start by looking at your side here. You've got love matters with celebrate differences. You and this person, I feel like, are equally very similar to each other and very different from each other at the same time. It's like, it feels like you guys, there are a lot of similarities, but I feel like where it matters, well, I don't want to necessarily say that, but it just feels like then emotionally and maybe more mentally, intellectually, there's a lot of differences here. But physically, or like you guys run in the same circles, or you have a lot of the same friends or outlooks on the world, but then when it comes down to how you are emotionally or intellectually, there's a lot of difference there. Now, that doesn't mean that there can't still be love, right? You can always work through differences. In fact, I think differences are very, very good. You have celebrate differences, but just in terms of your side of the connection, I feel like maybe you're getting a little hung up on the differences between you two or something, or the differences are what have caused most of the strife here. I'm not sure. This person has intuition with open your heart. The universe is asking this person to open themselves up, because I feel like I don't feel like they're super connected to their intuition, and I don't feel like their heart is super open to giving and receiving love. And I feel like that has been a pretty major issue in this connection, because it feels like this person's pretty closed off, and that's affected you, Sagittarius, pretty, in a pretty big way. Now, this is the energy that I don't love for you, because you have trust your own understanding and higher ground. I feel like there has been a little bit of gaslighting in this connection. Now, I'm actually one of the people that believe that word gets thrown around quite a bit, right? Everyone's a gaslighter, right? When you're unhappy with the way someone's treating you, it's like, oh, they're gaslighting me. I think that word gets thrown around a lot more than it needs to be. But in regard to this connection, it does feel like the way that this person has treated you has made you second guess yourself and your own sense of what you've experienced in this connection. And I feel like a lot of what we'll be kind of going through today is going to be helping you try to break out of that energy, because when you have experienced someone who has kind of manipulated your sense of your perception in a way, because of certain being deceptive, or just kind of I don't if you've experienced it, you know what it does to you. But it can really affect your sense of safety in the world. It's a very dangerous kind of thing that can happen. But let me start, Sagittarius, by looking at your side of this connection. Love matters with celebrate differences. This is Sagittarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. This is Sagittarius' side of this connection, please. Sagittarius' side of this connection, please. Oof, there it is. Literally right out of the gate. This is emotional. This King of Cups in reverse is the emotional abuse, emotional manipulation. That's what you've been receiving from this person. Like right out of the gate, first card pulled. That's what this is saying. You've been experiencing this emotional manipulation. And boy, oh boy, has it caused, because then you have the Ace of Swords in reverse. It's like it feels like you can't see things straight. It feels like you don't, and that's what I was trying to get at. It's like you don't know what's real and what's not. Like, I feel like there's a part of you that's like, what part of what this person has told me about their feelings for me are real, and what part of it is not real. This person, or Sagittarius' energy toward this person. This is what you've received from them. No way. That's upside down. That's definitely upside down. Because then you have this King of Swords in reverse. This is mental manipulation. Like, that's so crazy that this is coming out. Sagittarius, what the hell are you doing with this person? I'm just kidding. I don't mean it like that. Obviously, there's a reason that this has been attracted, that you've kind of put up with this. So trust me, there's no judgment here. But there is seriously this level of you've kind of come in to almost a sense of hopelessness when it comes to this person. They treat you so very poorly. I want more on this. I want to get more on this. Let's see if we can break out of this message and get a little bit more. More for Sagittarius' side of this connection. Could also be dealing with a water sign or an air sign. Definitely don't have to be. They've completely taken over your energy. Sagittarius, this reading is going to be deep. So bear with me. Because I feel like you saw the best in this person. But the Queen of Swords here, kind of both heads upright. You saw the best in this person. I don't know if it's upright or in reverse. It feels like it's like. And they showed you the worst. You saw the best in them and they showed you the worst. And I feel like there's a part of you that spent so much time fighting for the good that you saw in them or once experienced with them, right? Because this kind of energy, it doesn't come out in the beginning. It's sneaky. They start with making you feel special and making you feel loved and cared for and appreciated and like you're the only person in the world that matters. And then over time, that starts to fade. It starts to be replaced with all of the things that they once admired about you becoming issues. And they nitpick and they make you feel small and they make you feel, less than, and they start making you question your own sense of perception, what's reality versus what's not, because you start saying, I don't like the way you're treating me, and it turns into, oh, well, you're too sensitive or you expect too much from me, and that over time you then start to fight for what you felt and saw in the beginning, right? Well, and the way that I kind of see this with the Queen of Swords, because this is kind of like talking about speaking your truth. And the reason I feel like I can't figure out whether it's upside down or right side up, because I don't take cards as they fall, I take cards as I feel. It feels like your heart has been played with so much that you don't even really know what to believe anymore. Because you're like, yes, I saw when I was getting treated poorly, but there was a time when I wasn't. And there's a part of you that's reaching for what it felt like before things went to shit, for lack of a better word. Really, you could be dealing with an air sign because there's a lot of swords here, but this is all it just feels like they've completely taken over your energy here. More for Sagittarius' side of things. You've stopped. It's almost like over time, yeah, You withdrew. You stopped communicating how you felt because you started realizing that it didn't really matter what you said. It's like you started maybe being afraid to speak up, or yeah, because there you are as the Queen of Wands. It's like you started questioning whether or not, like, you might have been told, oh, you're too sensitive or you're asking for too much. And then over time you started going, am I too sensitive? Do I just need thicker skin? Am I, do I expect too much? Am I asking for too much? Like, is it me? Even though anyone on the outside looking in can see that it's not, right? But that's what happens when you get caught in these kinds of situations. Okay, I'm gonna sit up because this is starting to make me mad for you. All right, Sagittarius' side of this connection. Sagittarius' side of this connection, please. Oh, Sagittarius, you put up with unhappiness because you were so afraid of losing this. This screams trauma bond. So far, it's like you were afraid of the change of not having them, and so you stayed. You stayed in it. And I feel like, or are staying, this could be a situation that you are very much still in. Either way, your energy is still connected to them. So you're either still in it or still kind of dealing with the repercussion of it. But it just feels like there's this energy of like choosing to be unhappy. Almost to a certain point, starting to believe that you deserved to be unhappy. You put up with this for so long that it became your reality, like your normalcy. Sagittarius' side of this connection. Sagittarius' side of this connection. You even chased it. You even chased it. You even felt like if this person pulled away their energy, it almost feels like you would do anything it took to get it back. Because there's a part of you that connected with this person's belief that they placed on you that you would never find better elsewhere. And they made you feel that about yourself. They made you think that about yourself, that you would never find better elsewhere. So there's a part of you that even chased it. I am so sorry that you have had to deal with this, Sagittarius. I'm like, I've been in a connection that's similar. This is definitely not the reading for that connection for me, but I mean, I am a Sagittarius moon, but it's so crazy because when I was in that connection, everybody around me, my friends, I didn't really live by family at the time, but like just the people around me were all like, hey, something's up with this person. Like this person doesn't treat you well. This person, you shouldn't have to feel like this. This person, this is bad. And I blamed them. I was like, oh, you just don't get it. You don't get him. You don't see what I see, because again, when you're in that, you experience at the beginning a completely different person. And so you get to know and fall in love with someone that isn't real. They're not real. That person that they show you in the beginning, that's not really them. And then over time, it's like then you become so attached to that person because in the beginning they show you everything you want to see. They are like your dream person. They relate to you in ways you've never felt before. And it's almost like magical, too good to be true, and that's because it is. Now, not that you can't find that somewhere else, right? But okay, let's get more for this person's, or let's start with this person's energy towards Sagittarius. They have intuition with open your heart. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. going to be hard for me to read this energy and be kind at the same time. The Hierophant in reverse with the Magician in reverse. They have a very diluted perception of the world. The Hierophant in reverse. They're the way that they perceive and the way that they understand the world is it's diluted. It's very self-centered. And I feel like with the Magician in reverse, it's almost like it's a form of protecting themselves. It's a form of protecting themselves. People create their own delusional reality because they're afraid to face their own, right? And it feels like this perception that they have, and specifically of this connection, it almost kind of feels like they genuinely believe on some level in this entitlement that they have over your energy. It's not even just like a delusion anymore. It just feels like they truly believe that. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, because yeah, they have so much power over your energy right now, Sagittarius. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, please. Wow, okay. 7 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords in reverse. This is how they looked at you. This is how they looked at you when you were one of these cups to them. Like an option, something was replaceable. And that does not mean that you are, okay? That does not mean that you are replaceable. It means that is how this person sees you. And that is a result of them not knowing or understanding love. Now, then there's that empathetic part, part of me that wants to come out and say that people who, don't know how to give and receive love in a healthy way are people that have never experienced it in a healthy way. So that's where you start to say, well, okay, sure, it's not their fault that they grew up the way that they did. It is, however, their responsibility to fix it, to fix themselves, because hurt people, and that's not something that's not, it's only so long before that excuse isn't valid anymore. Oh, well, I was hurt when I was younger, or people in my past have hurt me, or I don't trust anyone because of what's happened to me. Okay, do something about it. Don't just keep going, to people and making them feel awful about themselves in order to make yourself feel better, right? And I'm just saying that because it does feel like that's what this person has done. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. Ooh, okay. 2 of Cups with the 6 of Pentacles. This is an interesting message. They want to be able to give and receive love. There is a part of them. Now remember, I'm trying to read the subconscious. I'm not reading the surface level. So they might not be like actively aware of this, but they want to be able to give and receive love. But they don't know how. They don't know how. And so it comes out as being they come off being very deceptive and shady and like all of the things that have affected you. It's not because they don't want to love. I don't know how. And maybe you know that, right? Like maybe you have you're such an empathetic person, you're able to see like, okay, yeah, this person is just really hurting. They want to be loved, they want to give and receive love, but they don't know how. And so you're like, well, maybe I can teach them. But then over time, that just ended up hurting you more than anything. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, please. Oof. Tower with the Knight of Cups. Ooh, they're very controlling, which makes sense, I mean, with everything I've been saying. But it's almost like, okay, because what is this Knight of Cups? Clarifying this Knight of Cups. Something, is this something that you said to them, Sagittarius? Some sort of, I don't want you to think that they're not, some sort of communication. And I feel like it was from you. Maybe not. Maybe something in regard to you. Kind of created this tower moment for them here. Because I feel like they really like knowing an ego thing and their need for control because they don't have control of themselves, but they really like knowing that they affect you as much as they do. And I feel like I said that in a Sagittarius reading last week. I definitely said that in a reading last week. It might have been a fire sign reading, but they like knowing that they have the impact on you that they do. And so I actually feel like they do what they can to keep you hanging on because they like that. They like knowing that they can reach you and affect you and impact your life. And I feel like for the longest time, Sagittarius, you've kind of let them. Because you it's almost like it's hard to believe someone could do this to you, right? Over and over again. Like it's hard to believe that people are really this not so great, right? But there's definitely gaslighting going on here. Like big time. Okay, this person's energy towards Sagittarius. It's like a hurt people. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. This is the King of Swords. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, but I didn't like the way it came out. They're the kind of person that is never happy with what they have. And that's because they're not really looking for love, right? They're looking for infatuation. And that infatuation eventually wears off. So that's where this comes from. This Eight of Cups. It's not that they look at you as an option because you're replaceable. It's because they don't know you on a deep level. They don't have that emotional connection to you. So if you feel like this person kind of tossed you to the side and like moved on to someone else, then like don't have pity for yourself, have pity for the next person, right? Because it's like, well, dang, I'm gonna do what they did to me to someone else, right? That sucks. Because it's like it's not that they see more value in somebody else, right? It's not the case. When you're dealing with people like this, and I don't like throwing this word around either, but narcissists, and this definitely feels like a narcissistic kind of energy. But when you're dealing with this kind of energy, you got to realize that there's no logic behind what they do. It's not that they like, oh, I'm going to hurt Sagittarius so bad. And maybe there is a part of them. Maybe they're like, oh, Sagittarius is going to be so jealous whenever I move on to this next person. They're going to be so jealous. And it's like, no, I'm not, because I was there for the way that you treated me. And I certainly don't want to be the next person, Now, of course, it's an easier way to kind of look at things big picture. Of course, it's going to hurt, but then you got to look at that big picture and say, but this person, they're not choosing people based on their value. They usually actually choose people that represent who they wish to be. So it's actually kind of a compliment when narcissists are kind of, choosing you, is because it's kind of a compliment, because they're saying you're an ideal version of who I want to be, but since I can't be that person because I don't know how to be that person, I'm going to tear you down to my level so I can prove that I'm not, it's not that I'm not good enough, it's that, you aren't good enough. And it's their backwards way of thinking. Now at the same time, it's easy to say, like when I was dealing with the connection that I was in, I was dealing with a narcissist, I knew what he was doing the whole time. I knew it. I was like, oh, well, yeah, he is. He's a narcissist. I can see it in the way he's treating me. But I was like, but I won't fall for it. Little did I know I was actively falling for it because I was investing in the connection. For me, it was like, oh, I'll change it or I won't let him treat me that way. But I was saying I won't let him treat me that way while he was actively treating me that way. And it's hard to, when you're in it, it's hard to see it. It's hard to see it and it's hard to understand it. But when you can get away from it, you can get out of it, the damage is done. And that damage, it took me years to kind of to heal from it. Years. And I'm still dealing with it. I am still, to this day, he probably hasn't thought about me in 2 years. And I'm still, to this day, dealing with the repercussions of the way that man treated me. And that's where it's not fair, right? They just kind of get to move on and do their thing to the next victim and the next victim and the next victim. And you're kind of stuck with all of the shit that they left you with. And you have to pick up the pieces and you have to heal. But here's the kicker. You will eventually heal. You will eventually take your power back. You will eventually learn what you need to learn from that. They're going to keep hurting and they're going to keep repeating their mistakes. And yes, that is awful for the people that they do hurt. But they're not going to get any better. They're never going to be able to find, true intimate connections. They're never going to be able to heal unless they choose to, right? One can only hope, right? One can only hope that a narcissist gets into therapy. But if you're watching them repeat this with the same people over and over, or even just one person over and over, don't look at this as, why didn't they choose me? Okay? Look at this as, thank God they didn't choose me. Because that will allow you to see that there is more healing in this than there needs to be pain eventually. It does. It takes time. All right. This is this person's energy for Sagittarius. One more for this person's energy for Sagittarius, please. Oh, they are straight up deceptive. They're just not honest. Like, it's not even like, I don't even think they necessarily try to hide it. I think they just lie. And it ungrounds you. It does. It affects you majorly, Sagittarius. Can I get more here? More here? Can I get more here? The ego. There it is, right there. They communicate with ego. Literally, what that's saying. They communicate with ego. So they just lie. They say whatever they need to say to get through the moment. They let you know whatever you need to hear to get through the moment. They don't have any, there's no true meaning behind what's coming out of their mouth and what they're saying. They're saying whatever they want, whatever they need to get what they want. And I feel like there's a part of you that it's hard because there's part of you that trusts some of that, because some of it was formed in that connection that you built in the initial stage of this, right? But eventually that initial stage wears off and you're left with the lies. And then you're like, well, what's real and what was a lie? You don't need to sort through that. Don't try to figure that part out. You're just going to get yourself lost in it. Try to heal. I recommend therapy. Seriously, like I recommend therapy. I recommend talking to someone about it, because the more that you get stuck in your head about connections like this, the more that you're going to find yourself lost in all of the pain associated with the way that these kind of things, these kind of people treat you. Now, I sat here and I said, I've been healing from this for years, right? And it doesn't mean that you are going to. It doesn't mean it's going to take you years to heal from this. I just was basically saying, I get the frustration of, I'm still healing from this and this person is still hurting people, right? I get that. And it's awful. But it also, you can't do anything about it. And the more that I've just released myself from that and released my anger and released my resentment, and in fact, if it weren't for that connection, I never would have discovered my worth. I never would have made certain moves in my life. I never would have met the love of my life that I'm currently with. So there's a part of me that's actually very grateful for the way that he treated me, and it took me a long time to get here, but good things can come from bad things. It just takes time. All right, Sagittarius, we're going to hop on over to the extended reading. We're going to look at this truth of this connection. You have higher ground with trust your own understanding. I'm going to pull 9 different messages for that, and then I have an advice card to pull at the end. Thank you guys so much, as always, for the support of my channel. It means more to me than you know, and I do wish you absolutely nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. And I'm so sorry that this is what you're dealing with. If this is something that if this is a reading you've watched all the way to the end, I am very sorry that this is the kind of energy you've had to deal with. So thank you again, and I wish you all the healing that you need. Bye, Sagittarius.